Today I want to introduce everybody to our newest control arm, the Ultra Series control arm and the Alpha Series control arm. I think at this point everybody's familiar with our original lower control arm design. This is a design that we've had since 2005. This is probably the most widely copied design out in the industry. We made new arms because we wanted to push the limits of our engineering, update the design since everybody was copying the old control arm. We wanted to come up with a new design. All the new arms are patented. Well, the design is purely a matter of form following function. So when we put this in the computer engineering program and we applied the forces, it gave us an optimized shape for ultimate strength to weight ratio. If you look at the Skunk2 Ultra control arm, it's very light, and we've actually removed a lot of material. This is because we used a forging process, and we also used 7075 aluminum alloy, which is much stronger than 6061. Most of the control arms you're going to find in the market are made out of 6061. If somebody tried making this control arm out of 6061, it would probably break. With the old control arm, you see all three bushings are the same type of bushing, and they have to be a softer bushing to accommodate for the twist that happens when the arm articulates. In addition to improving the strength and the weight of the Ultra and the Alpha control arms, we also improved the bushing and the bearing system. At first glance, you might think that the control arm just pivots like this, but that's actually not correct because the outboard of the control arm is connected to a trailing arm. So as the control arm wants to articulate like this, it also wants to rotate in an arc. And that creates twisting forces on the bushings. Now, we ended up using a spherical bearing on the end, so the inboard can freely hinge up and down like this, and the outboard could also go up and down without twisting because the spherical bearing would be able to accommodate for that twist. So we can get smooth rotation on the inboard side, and then the outside would allow for the twist without actually binding up the bushings or damaging the bushings. As a point of reference, on the older control arms, the way that we accommodated for the twist was that we actually used a softer material. So the older bushings are made out of polyurethane, but the hardness is only about 50 durometer, 52A. You'll see here that when you compare the Ultra and the Alpha bushings to the older control arm bushings, that the new bushing is quite a bit larger. In addition to being larger, the bushing material is 92A durometer, so it's a much harder material, much more durable than the previous material. People have asked us why we don't have a spherical bearing on the inboard. Well, ultimately, from a performance standpoint, that would be the best solution, to actually have spherical bearings on all three of these points. However, since we're dealing primarily with road cars, if we don't have a soft bushing mounted somewhere, it's going to transfer a lot of vibration into the vehicle. And that's why we chose to use Delrin for the shock mount and polyurethane for the inboard. On the Ultra, we made provisions to install a spherical bearing on the inboard, and that upgrade kit is available. We also upgraded the pin from steel. The old versions had the steel pin, and now they're aluminum and hard anodized, and this helps save weight as well. Now, the Alpha is actually our solution for the budget-minded enthusiast. This is made out of 6061, but if you noticed, we didn't pocket it, we didn't cut out in between all of the bracing, so all the webbing is still in place. I don't think that there's anything better on the market for the price. You have the same larger high durometer bushing on the inboard side, you have the same spherical bearing on the outboard side, and you have the same Delrin bushing in the middle. A lot of the eBay or some of the cheaper control arms, you'll see that they have a rubber bushing. Now the problem with the rubber bushing is that with a three-piece bushing, the arm can rotate freely, almost like a bearing. But with a rubber bushing, as it starts to move, it starts to tear on that rubber in either direction. So if you had a control arm mounted to a car and you bolted it in place, it would just stay there, it wouldn't move. And the force of the bushing actually affects the handling and the performance of the car. The bushing adds resistance. When you start pulling it down or when you start pushing it up, the bushing starts adding resistance. With the 3-piece style bushing, the arm can move freely. And so the spring and the shock see the forces of the car and doesn't have the force of the bushing adding into that whole equation. Currently, the Skunk2 Ultra and Alpha control arms are available for EG and DC, but we have the Honda EK control arm in the works right now. The Skunk2 Ultra and Alpha control arms are available in black, clear, and gold anodized.